15 famous child actors you would never recognize today. You grew up watching them, the cute kid, the brave, bright hero, the funny sidekick. But here's the shocking truth. Childhood fame doesn't freeze time. While audiences kept their memories, these actors had to grow up under cameras, pressure, and expectations they never chose. Some escaped the spotlight, some reinvented themselves, and some struggled just to live a normal life. Today on Black Excellence Legends, we're not just showing transformations, we're revealing what really happens after applause fades. Watch carefully, and when you finish, tell us in the comments, would you want fame at 10 years old if it followed you forever? Like, subscribe, and join the conversation. Daniel Radcliffe. Daniel Radcliffe became a global icon before he was old enough to fully understand fame. Cast as Harry Potter at just 11 years old, he spent nearly a decade portraying one of the most recognizable fictional characters in modern cinema. Between 2001 and 2011, the 8-film series earned billions at the worldwide box office and turned Radcliffe into a household name across continents. While audiences saw a confident young wizard on screen, his real life involved relentless schedules, intense media attention, and the challenge of growing up in front of millions of viewers. The pressure of sudden fame affected him during his late teenage years. Radcliffe later spoke openly about developing an unhealthy relationship with alcohol while filming the later entries of the franchise. Rather than hiding it, he addressed the issue honestly, sought support, and eventually became sober. His willingness to discuss his struggles helped reshape public perception of child stardom, reminding audiences that success does not eliminate vulnerability. After the series ended, he deliberately avoided repeating similar roles. He chose independent films and theater projects that challenged his abilities, including stage performances in London and New York. His work in productions like Equus and later films such as The Woman in Black and Swiss Army Man demonstrated his determination to be recognized as a versatile performer rather than permanently defined by one character. Instead of clinging to nostalgia, he treated his early fame as a starting point, not a destination. Radcliffe also became active in charitable causes, supporting organizations focused on mental health awareness and youth welfare. He frequently emphasized gratitude toward fans while encouraging young actors to protect their well-being. Today, he is seen not as the boy wizard, but as a mature artist who consciously reshaped his career. His story carries a meaningful lesson. Identity should not be frozen at childhood success. People grow, change, and deserve the chance to redefine themselves beyond expectations. Radcliffe's journey shows that confronting personal struggles with honesty can be a form of strength, and that lasting respect often comes from authenticity rather than perfection. Jonathan Lipnicki. Jonathan Lipnicki entered Hollywood at an age when most children were just starting school. He gained instant recognition in Jerry Maguire 1996, sharing scenes with major actors and delivering memorable dialogue that audiences still recall. Soon afterward, he became widely known as George Little in the Stuart Little films, where his charm and sincerity made him one of the most recognizable child performers as of the late 1990s. For a young child, however, worldwide, attention brought both opportunity and pressure. As he grew older, the transition to adulthood proved complicated. Like many former child stars, he experienced a period where casting offers slowed and public interest shifted. Instead of leaving the industry entirely, Lipnicki focused on training, studying acting seriously, and improving his craft. He appeared in independent productions and smaller roles, choosing steady development rather than instant fame. This quieter phase allowed him to mature outside the constant spotlight that defined his early career. In recent years, he has diversified his activities. He has participated in podcasts, interviews, and online platforms where he speaks openly about his experiences with childhood celebrity and the emotional challenges that followed. Rather than presenting a glamorous narrative, he describes the importance of patience and personal growth. His reflections resonate with many former young performers who face similar transitions. Lipnicki also prioritizes physical fitness and mental well-being, emphasizing discipline and routine as stabilizing influences. He maintains connections within the film community while continuing to audition and take acting roles. Though he no longer carries the overwhelming fame of his early years, he has achieved something equally valuable: balance and self-awareness. His journey illustrates an important human truth: success in childhood does not define a lifetime. Real achievement may come from resilience, not constant attention. By continuing to pursue his passion without relying solely on nostalgia, Lipnicki demonstrates that personal fulfillment matters more than early popularity. Growing up outside the character audiences remember required courage, and his story reminds viewers that every person deserves the freedom to evolve beyond their past image. Abigail Breslin. Abigail Breslin entered Hollywood at an age when most children were still discovering their hobbies. She began acting in commercials before landing film roles that quickly revealed unusual emotional range for someone so young. Her defining breakthrough came with Little Miss Sunshine 2006. At only 10 years old, she delivered a performance filled with humor, vulnerability, and sincerity, earning an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. That recognition placed her among the youngest nominees in Oscar history and established her as more than a temporary child star. Unlike many young performers who struggled to transition into adulthood roles, Breslin continued working consistently. She appeared in films across multiple genres, drama, comedy, and horror, proving adaptability rather than relying on her early reputation. Years later, she revisited a major franchise role in Zombieland Double Tap, demonstrating how audiences could grow alongside her, rather than remembering only her childhood image. She also joined television projects such as Scream Queens, further expanding her acting profile. Beyond acting, Breslin explored music under the name Sophomore, releasing songs that revealed a different creative side. This shift showed her interest in storytelling beyond the screen, allowing her to express personal themes through songwriting. By branching into music, she avoided being confined to a single artistic identity and instead presented herself as a creative individual, evolving over time. Her public life also includes advocacy work and openness about personal challenges, including mental health awareness and discussions about resilience. She often encourages young fans to accept change and self-growth, emphasizing that adulthood does not erase childhood achievements, but reshapes them. Breslin's career demonstrates that early success can be a foundation rather than a limitation. She did not attempt to remain the same child audiences first admired. She allowed herself to mature artistically and personally. Her story carries a meaningful message. People are not defined by the age at which they become known, but by how they continue growing afterward. True longevity comes from adaptability, and she represents how a former child star can become a lasting professional through persistence and self-discovery. Daryl Sabara. Daryl Sabara became recognizable worldwide as Junie Cortez in the Spy Kids film series. Released in the early 2000s, the movies reached global audiences and turned him into one of the most familiar young faces of that era. Playing a shy boy who gradually becomes a confident young hero, Sabara's character resonated with children who saw themselves in his awkwardness and determination. For several years, he represented the adventurous optimism of family cinema. After the series, Sabara continued acting but avoided overexposure. Instead of chasing constant leading roles, he appeared in guest spots on television programs such as Friends and Criminal Minds, showing flexibility across comedy and drama. He also contributed voice acting work, including participation in animated productions like The Polar Express. This variety helped him stay active professionally while gradually transitioning into adult roles. As he matured, Sabara chose stability over sensational headlines. He remained connected to entertainment, but built a balanced personal life outside the spotlight. Rather than trying to recreate childhood fame, he accepted that public attention changes over time. This approach allowed him to develop a long-term career without the extreme pressures that often affect former child actors. In adulthood, he expanded his activities beyond acting, including voice work and collaborative projects. Fans who remember the energetic young spy might barely recognize him today, not only because of physical changes, but because of his quieter public presence. His journey shows a different model of success, one based on consistency rather than constant visibility. Sabara's story teaches a valuable lesson about identity. Childhood recognition can be temporary, but personal character is lasting. He chose to grow at his own pace instead of competing with his past image. By accepting change and maintaining humility, he demonstrated that adulthood after early fame can be healthy and fulfilling. Sometimes success is not measured by remaining in the spotlight, but by building a steady life beyond it. Jaleel White. Jaleel White achieved something rare in television history. He created a character so memorable that it became part of pop culture. Cast as Steve Urkel on Family Matters in 1989, he was originally meant to appear only briefly. Instead, audiences embraced the awkward suspenders-wearing neighbor, and the role expanded into the central comedic force of the series. For 9 seasons, White's physical comedy, unique voice, and timing turned Urkel into one of the most recognizable sitcom personalities of the 1990s. The character influenced catchphrases, fashion jokes, and even toy merchandise, proving how powerful a single performance could be. Yet the success also created a challenge. As White grew older, viewers still saw him as the teenage genius he portrayed on television. After the show ended in 1998, he worked deliberately to demonstrate versatility. He appeared in films such as Dreamgirls and participated in various television projects, including voice acting and guest roles. He also returned briefly to the character in animated form years later, showing that he had learned to embrace rather than resist the role that made him famous. White diversified beyond acting as well. He hosted shows, competed on Dancing with the Stars, and explored business ventures, including launching a cannabis brand inspired by the show's fictional references. These steps reflected an effort to control his own narrative instead of being permanently defined by childhood fame. Privately, he often spoke about the pressure of growing up under public scrutiny and the difficulty of separating personal identity from a beloved character. Over time, he expressed gratitude toward fans and acknowledged that the role opened doors he might never have had otherwise. His journey carries an important message. Early recognition can be both opportunity and limitation. White demonstrated resilience by accepting his past while still building a broader career. Rather than running from his history, he integrated it into his future. His story reminds viewers that people should be allowed to evolve beyond the roles others assign them, because maturity means defining oneself rather than living inside expectations. Drake Bell. Drake Bell became widely known to a generation of viewers through the Nickelodeon sitcom Drake and Josh. Playing a charming and carefree teenager, he gained popularity for his comedic timing and musical ability. During the early 2000s, the show's success turned him into a recognizable teen idol, and his songs featured within the series helped launch a parallel career in music. He released albums and toured, building a fan base that extended beyond television audiences. As he entered adulthood, Bell tried to reshape his image from sitcom star to independent musician. He continued recording and performing, focusing particularly on rock-influenced music and later gaining strong support from fans in Latin American countries. This shift demonstrated his desire to be recognized for artistic expression rather than nostalgia alone. However, transitioning away from a beloved teenage persona proved complicated. Public expectations remained attached to the character viewers remembered. His later years included both professional activity and serious personal difficulties. Legal issues and public controversies affected his reputation and overshadowed aspects of his career. These events reminded audiences that growing up in the spotlight does not guarantee emotional maturity or stability. Fame provided opportunity, but it also amplified mistakes, making private problems visible worldwide. Despite setbacks, Bell continued creating music and attempting to rebuild his career. His story illustrates how early success can create pressure to maintain an image that no longer reflects reality. The challenge becomes not just professional survival, but personal accountability. There is a broader lesson within his experience. Childhood admiration does not shield anyone from consequences. Public figures, like everyone else, must face responsibility for their actions. At the same time, people can learn and attempt to change. Bell's path shows both the risks of fame and the importance of growth. Recognition may arrive quickly, but wisdom usually comes later, often through hardship rather than applause. Josh Peck. Josh Peck grew up in front of television audiences who first met him as the energetic and clumsy teenager on Nickelodeon's Drake and Josh. During the early 2000s, his comedic timing and expressive reactions made him a standout performer among young viewers. Yet while the show's success brought popularity, it also fixed a very specific image in the public mind: the loud, goofy kid whose personality rarely changed. As he matured, Peck faced a familiar challenge for former child actors. Audiences remembered the character more clearly than the person. After the series ended, he consciously worked to redefine himself. He focused on health and lifestyle changes, losing a significant amount of weight and adopting a disciplined routine. The physical transformation surprised longtime fans and symbolized a broader personal shift. Rather than distancing himself from his past, he acknowledged it while demonstrating growth. He continued acting, appearing in films and television projects, but he also explored a new medium that reshaped his career: online content creation. Peck built a strong presence on YouTube and social media, sharing everyday experiences, humor, and personal reflections. This allowed viewers to see a more authentic personality beyond scripted comedy. His online success introduced him to a new generation who knew him not only as a former sitcom actor, but as a relatable adult storyteller. He later published a memoir discussing childhood struggles, self-esteem issues, and the reality of growing up in entertainment, showing openness about topics many performers avoid. He also became a husband and father, emphasizing family stability over constant publicity. By prioritizing balance, he demonstrated that life after early fame does not have to revolve around recreating past success. Josh Peck's story carries a clear message: personal growth can redefine public perception. He did not erase his childhood role, he expanded beyond it. His journey shows that maturity involves self-acceptance and responsibility. The most meaningful transformation was not physical, but internal, proving that identity is not locked in childhood reputation, but shaped by choices made later in life. Haley Joel Osment. Haley Joel Osment became one of the most recognized child actors of his generation, with his unforgettable performance in The Sixth Sense, 1999. His line delivered with sincerity and emotional depth instantly entered film history and earned him an Academy Award nomination while he was still a child. Soon afterward, he appeared in major productions such as AI, Artificial Intelligence, and Pay It Forward, where critics praise his maturity and ability to portray complex emotions far beyond his age. Unlike many young stars, Osment did not attempt to maintain continuous visibility. As he entered adolescence, he stepped back from constant major roles and focused on education and personal development. The transition to adulthood, however, was not completely smooth. A legal incident related to driving under the influence brought public scrutiny, but he accepted responsibility and completed probation, after which he avoided further legal trouble. This moment marked a turning point, encouraging him to reassess priorities and rebuild his reputation. As an adult actor, he deliberately chose varied roles rather than leading blockbuster characters. He appeared in independent films, television comedies, and voice acting projects, demonstrating range instead of relying on childhood fame. His appearance changed significantly as he matured, surprising audiences who remembered the young boy from earlier films. Yet his expressive eyes and emotional presence remained recognizable, helping him transition into character-driven performances. Osment's career reflects patience rather than speed. He embraced smaller roles that allowed experimentation and steady improvement. Instead of competing with his younger self, he accepted that childhood recognition belongs to a different phase of life. By focusing on craft rather than image, he maintained a long-term presence in entertainment. His experience offers an important perspective: talent alone does not guarantee stability, but humility and accountability can preserve it. Osment's path shows that mistakes do not have to define a person permanently. Growth is possible when individuals accept responsibility and continue moving forward, proving that maturity often begins where early fame ends. Julianna Rose Mauriello. Julianna Rose Mauriello became internationally recognizable as Stephanie, the energetic pink-haired heroine of the children's television series Lazy Town. Airing in dozens of countries, the program combined fitness music and colorful storytelling, and her lively performance made her a favorite among young audiences. For several years, she lived a life most children never experience, traveling, performing musical numbers, and appearing in promotional events tied to the show's global success. Viewers associated her with optimism and boundless energy, yet adulthood brought a decision that surprised many fans. Instead of continuing toward a long acting career, Mauriello gradually stepped away from entertainment. After her time on Lazy Town, she focused on education and personal development rather than publicity. She later attended university and pursued a professional field unrelated to acting training in occupational therapy. The shift was significant. Rather than performing for cameras, she chose to work directly with people, helping individuals improve daily functioning and quality of life. In practical terms, she traded celebrity attention for meaningful human interaction. Her choice reflected a desire for normalcy. Many former child performers struggle to separate their identity from a character. But Mauriello chose early to build a life defined by her own interests rather than audience expectations. She made occasional appearances and interviews acknowledging her past role, Yet she did not rely on nostalgia to shape her future. The character remained important, but it no longer determined her direction. This path carries an important human lesson. Success does not always mean staying in the same profession forever. Sometimes maturity involves recognizing what brings genuine fulfillment rather than external recognition. Mauriello demonstrated that stepping away from fame can be an active decision, not a failure. By prioritizing education and service, she transformed childhood recognition into personal growth. Her story reminds viewers that a meaningful life is measured not only by applause, but also by the positive difference one makes in other people's everyday lives. Miko Hughes. Miko Hughes began acting at an age when most children were learning to read. Appearing in commercials as a toddler, he soon transitioned into film roles that displayed surprising emotional range. Many audiences remember him from Pet Sematary, where he portrayed a young character central to the film's unsettling atmosphere. He later appeared in major productions including Kindergarten Cop Apollo 13 and Mercury Rising, sharing the screen with well-known adult actors despite his young age. By elementary school, he already had a filmography most performers spend decades building. Growing up in the industry required adjustment. As he aged, casting opportunities naturally changed, and the familiar image of a small child no longer matched his appearance. Rather than attempting to recreate his earlier popularity, Hughes continued acting selectively while developing interests outside film. Over time, he embraced a quieter lifestyle, balancing occasional performances with personal pursuits. One of his most unusual hobbies became beekeeping, a practice requiring patience, care, and attentiveness. The contrast between his eerie on-screen child roles and the calm discipline of maintaining bee colonies highlights how different real life can be from fictional memories. He also spoke positively about his heritage and upbringing, emphasizing stability and family support during his early career. Unlike many former child stars who faced public controversies, Hughes maintained a relatively private life. His experience shows that childhood fame can be managed successfully when grounded support systems exist. His journey illustrates a valuable idea: early recognition does not obligate someone to remain permanently in the spotlight. Hughes accepted that audiences would remember a character, yet he allowed himself to grow into a different person. By balancing creative work with ordinary responsibilities, he demonstrated that adulthood can redefine priorities. The child audiences once associated with suspenseful films became an adult choosing calm and purpose. His life suggests that peace and personal satisfaction can be greater achievements than continued fame. Daveigh Chase. Daveigh Chase became unforgettable to audiences through one of the most chilling child performances in modern horror cinema. Her portrayal of Samara in The Ring 2002 created an image that many viewers still recall instantly: a pale figure with dark hair emerging from a television screen. Yet that eerie character represented only one part of her early career. Even before the film, she had been working in television and voice acting, and around the same time she voiced Lilo in Disney's Lilo and Stitch and Chihiro in the English version of Spirited Away. The contrast between a warm, animated heroine and a frightening horror figure demonstrated her unusual versatility at a very young age. As she grew older, the transition to adulthood changed both her appearance and her career path. The unsettling child audiences remembered naturally disappeared, replaced by a young woman pursuing a broader range of acting opportunities. She continued appearing in television projects, guest roles, and independent films, while also maintaining voice acting work. However, the public often struggled to separate the performer from the character she once portrayed, illustrating how strongly early roles can shape perception. Her later years were quieter compared to the intensity of her early fame. Rather than chasing blockbuster visibility, she focused on selective projects and personal development. Like many former child actors, she experienced the challenge of being recognized for a single childhood image, even as she matured. Over time, she learned to accept that the iconic role would remain part of her identity while still building a separate adult life. Her story highlights a broader lesson about growing up under public attention. Audiences often freeze performers in time, remembering them as children long after they have changed. Chase's journey reminds us that behind memorable characters are real individuals navigating ordinary adulthood. The transformation from a famous child to an independent adult requires patience and resilience. Ultimately, her experience shows that identity belongs to the person, not the role, and that personal growth continues long after the camera stops recording. Ivana Baquero. Ivana Baquero achieved worldwide recognition through a single powerful performance. Born in Barcelona, Spain, she began acting in childhood, but her defining moment came with Guillermo del Toro's film Pan's Labyrinth, 2006. At only 11 years old, she portrayed Ophelia, a young girl navigating both fantasy and wartime reality. Her emotional depth impressed critics and audiences alike, earning her the Goya Award and introducing her to international cinema. The role required maturity beyond her age, and she delivered a performance that blended innocence with courage. Unlike many child actors who struggle after early success, Baquero carefully balanced her career and education. She continued acting in both Spanish and English language projects while also pursuing academic studies. This decision allowed her to develop gradually rather than relying solely on early fame. She appeared in television series and films across multiple countries, demonstrating linguistic and cultural versatility that broadened her professional opportunities. As she matured, her appearance changed so significantly that some viewers barely recognized the young girl from her breakthrough film. Instead of repeating similar characters, she accepted diverse roles from historical drama to fantasy and contemporary storytelling. Her focus remained on craft rather than celebrity status. By choosing steady progress over rapid exposure, she avoided the pressure that often overwhelms young performers. Baquero's path illustrates discipline and foresight. She understood that early recognition is temporary unless supported by continuous learning. By investing in education and expanding her skills, she built a sustainable career rather than depending on nostalgia. Her experience shows that success achieved in childhood can evolve into adulthood when paired with preparation and patience. Her journey offers a meaningful perspective. Talent opens doors, but commitment keeps them open. Baquero did not attempt to preserve her child image. She allowed herself to grow and redefine her professional identity. In doing so, she demonstrated that real transformation is not merely physical, it is the development of confidence, knowledge, and purpose over time. Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith was born into one of Hollywood's most recognized families, the son of actors Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. Smith, from childhood, public attention followed him naturally, but he quickly proved he was more than a famous surname. His acting debut alongside his father in The Pursuit of Happiness, 2006, introduced audiences to a natural, expressive performer. He later starred in The Karate Kid, 2010, a major international success that confirmed his ability to carry a leading role at a young age. As he entered adolescence, Jaden began shaping his own creative identity rather than repeating traditional acting paths. He explored music, releasing albums that blended rap, alternative, and experimental sounds. His lyrics often reflected philosophical ideas about individuality and self-awareness rather than typical commercial themes. He also entered fashion, collaborating with brands and creating his own clothing concepts, demonstrating interest in visual expression beyond film. Public reaction to his evolving appearance and style was mixed. His clothing choices and unconventional public statements sparked debate, but he consistently emphasized personal freedom and self-expression. Instead of avoiding criticism, he treated it as part of artistic growth. Over time, audiences began to view him less as a child actor and more as a multidisciplinary artist experimenting with different forms of creativity. He also became involved in social initiatives, including projects focused on environmental awareness and access to clean water. These activities showed that his interests extended beyond entertainment into humanitarian concerns. While still young, he has attempted to balance fame with purpose, using his platform to promote independent thinking. Jaden Smith's story illustrates a modern version of growing up in public view. Unlike earlier child stars, he chose not to distance himself from attention, but to reshape it according to his own vision. His journey suggests that identity is not fixed by early success or family legacy. Instead, it develops through experimentation, mistakes, and learning. By insisting on authenticity, he demonstrates that maturity sometimes means risking misunderstanding in order to discover who you truly are. Mackenzie Rosman. Mackenzie Rosman became widely known for her role as Ruthie Camden in the long-running family drama Seventh Heaven. Beginning the series at a very young age, she appeared in hundreds of episodes, effectively growing up on screen in front of viewers. For many years, audiences watched her character mature from a child into a teenager, making her one of the most familiar young faces on television during the late 1990s and early 2000s. Despite the show's success, Rosman eventually chose a quieter path. As she reached adulthood, she became selective about acting roles rather than pursuing constant publicity. Instead of trying to maintain the same level of visibility, she focused on personal interests and life outside entertainment. One of her passions became equestrian sport, specifically competitive show jumping. The discipline and concentration required for the sport offered a different type of achievement than performing for cameras. Her life took a deeper direction through charity work. Inspired by her stepsister's struggle with cystic fibrosis, she dedicated significant effort to raising awareness and encouraging organ donation. She participated in fundraising events and public campaigns, supporting medical research and patient support programs. This advocacy allowed her to transform her public recognition into practical help for others facing serious illness. Rosman's story differs from the typical narrative of former child actors attempting to preserve fame. She demonstrated that stepping back can be an intentional and healthy decision. Rather than being defined solely by a television role, she chose to apply her influence to meaningful causes and personal fulfillment. Her experience highlights an important lesson about success. Popularity is temporary, but compassion leaves lasting impact. By using her platform to support medical awareness, she showed that recognition can serve a larger purpose than personal attention. Rosman reminds viewers that a life away from constant spotlight is not a disappearance. It can be a transition toward authenticity, responsibility, and service to others. Tahj Mowry. Tahj Mowry grew up surrounded by cameras long before he understood how unusual that life was. Born in Honolulu and raised in a family already involved in entertainment, he began acting as a child and quickly found steady success. Many viewers first noticed him in appearances on popular 1990s television, including Full House, but his career truly gained momentum when he joined the hit sitcom Sister Sister alongside his real-life twin sisters Tia and Tamara. His natural comedic delivery and warm screen presence made him a familiar face to audiences who watch weekly family programming. Unlike some child performers who disappear after early success, Mowry remained consistently active. As he entered adolescence, he continued working in television and voice acting, gradually transitioning into more mature roles. Instead of relying entirely on nostalgia, he explored new creative directions. He later pursued music, releasing songs and an EP that revealed his interest in singing and songwriting. The move into music demonstrated his willingness to develop as a complete entertainer rather than limiting himself to acting alone. His career path was steady rather than dramatic. There were no extreme scandals or sudden reinventions, only gradual growth. That consistency helped him avoid many difficulties former child stars face. By maintaining a supportive family environment and realistic expectations, he navigated adulthood with relative stability. Fans who remembered the cheerful boy from sitcoms were often surprised by his adult appearance, yet his personality remained recognizable. Mowry also spoke about balancing public life with personal well-being, emphasizing discipline and patience. Instead of chasing constant headlines, he focused on working regularly and improving his craft. Over time, he built a reputation as a reliable performer, capable of comedy voice acting and music performance. His story offers a meaningful perspective on fame. Not every transformation must be dramatic to be successful. Sometimes the healthiest path is gradual progress and consistency. Tahj Mowry shows that growing up in the spotlight can lead to a stable adulthood when guided by support, humility, and persistence. Longevity in his case came not from sudden reinvention, but from steady dedication to creative work. Malcolm David Kelley. Malcolm David Kelley first reached international recognition through the television drama Lost. Cast as Walt Lloyd, a young boy surrounded by unexplained events on a mysterious island, he quickly became one of the show's most intriguing characters. Audiences noticed not only his screen presence, but also the emotional depth he brought to a complex story. As a child actor working on a major series, he experienced immediate fame, yet the demanding production schedule and intense attention were part of daily life during his formative years. When the early seasons ended and his character appeared less frequently, Kelley faced the common challenge child actors encounter, redefining his career while growing into adulthood. Rather than disappearing from entertainment, he chose to expand his creative direction. He pursued music, forming the pop-rap duo MKTOO with a fellow performer. Their debut album gained attention and radio play, allowing him to connect with audiences in a new way. Through songwriting and performance, he could express himself directly instead of portraying fictional characters. He continued acting in selected projects, balancing both professions. This dual path helped him avoid being permanently associated with a single childhood role. While viewers remembered him as the mysterious boy from a famous series, he demonstrated artistic independence by building a separate musical identity. His transition reflected a broader effort to control his career rather than rely solely on early success. Kelley's journey highlights the importance of adaptability. Childhood recognition can fade quickly unless accompanied by growth. By learning new skills and exploring music, he transformed a television introduction into a lasting creative career. His experience shows that talent does not have to remain fixed within one medium. Personal evolution, not nostalgia, often determines longevity. Ultimately, he represents how a young performer can mature into a multidisciplinary artist while maintaining a grounded approach to public attention. Bug Hall. Brandon Bug Hall became widely recognized as Alfalfa in the 1994 film The Little Rascals. His comedic timing and distinctive hairstyle made him instantly memorable, and the film became a childhood favorite for many viewers. For a young actor, the popularity was overwhelming. He was associated strongly with a single character, and audiences often expected him to remain the same cheerful boy long after filming ended. After childhood fame, Hall continued acting in various projects, including television and smaller film roles. However, he never again reached the same level of recognition as his early performance. This shift is common for young performers whose defining role arrives too early. As he matured, he navigated the difficult adjustment from constant attention to a quieter professional life. His adulthood included personal challenges, including legal issues that brought public concern about his well-being. Such struggles illustrated the emotional pressure many child actors face when transitioning into normal adult responsibilities without the structure that once guided their careers. Over time, he worked towards stability, focusing on family life and personal growth rather than celebrity status. He married and became a parent, choosing to prioritize everyday responsibilities. Physically, he changed significantly, and many viewers would not recognize him without remembering the famous role from childhood. Yet the transformation was more than appearance. It was a shift in perspective. Instead of trying to recreate past popularity, he began building a private life beyond entertainment. Hall's experience offers a human lesson about fame. Early success can create expectations that are difficult to sustain, especially for a child still developing emotionally. His story reminds audiences that actors are individuals first and public figures second. Maturity often comes through mistakes, reflection, and effort to improve. The boy remembered from a classic family film eventually became an adult learning ordinary responsibilities, proving that growth continues long after childhood applause fades. Looking back at their journeys, one question remains: did fame help these child stars, or quietly take part of their childhood away? Success gave them money and recognition, but growing up in public meant every mistake became permanent. Maybe the real lesson isn't about celebrity at all, it's about empathy. Before judging where they ended up, remember they were children learning life while the world watched. Share your opinion respectfully below and debate with others in the comments. Support Black Excellence Legends by liking, subscribing, and commenting. Because behind every familiar face is a human story, and understanding people matters more than remembering characters.